somebody's on.
Oh,
See,
okay.
we're live.
All right.
But we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait to see if
We're building
anybody's...
the audience now.
We're building just Joe, just as long as Joe's on. We know.
Okay.
That
I feel
we're
like
good.
the Jeopardy theme. Do 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 do.
That's what it is.
Okay.
We wait and we wait and we wait.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Unfortunately, if people like watch this tomorrow, this is what they're gonna get.
We have to make it entertaining for them
We
then.
have to be cute. Hi. Babe, nothing?
Is this thing on? I think it's on. You don't think?
Anyone? Anyone?
Bueller?
Bueller? Seriously?
I'm checking myself.
Where you at? Where you at? Really? I'm live. I see myself live.
There you go. See?
I'm on.
He's not even doing it. I'm just kidding. You guys have your setup.
Joe, you're still not on? Okay. All right, you guys. Hello.
Hello. There's some little thumbs up.
That's
we like
Joe.
that.
Oh, there's Karen. She's already on. Yay. Okay. Hey, you guys. So it's Thursday night, obviously. So we are here for Facebook Live.
I wonder if Sherry's on. She's got that reminder.
She has a reminder. She'll be on. To my parenting pioneers, tonight we are talking all things nutrition. And a lot of it will be geared towards us, the mommies and the daddies, but we will certainly discuss how we can bring it home for the kiddies. And Karen, you can write in some suggestions because I know you make your kids juice every morning. So, okay, having said that, I already bombarded Carrie with a zillion questions. She is to explain to them what your credentials are.
Sure. So I am a nutritional therapy practitioner, certified nutritional therapy practitioner through the NTA or Nutritional Therapy Association. And I also got certified through Well Coaches, which is all about the psychology of behavior change. So yeah, that's the big one.
So we could probably talk about the sleeve of Oreos.
The sleeve of Oreos. Oh, is that something that you ate?
Sherry!
Oh, hey,
Sherry, she says that she can help me with the psychology of eating the sleeve of Oreos. Do you think we should address that?
Trust me, I know what it's like to eat a sleeve of Oreos too.
That's a whole nother night. Okay, so you've got all those fantastic credentials. I wanted to pick your brain about like a zillion things.
Sure.
No Oreos, yuck. So I wanted to pick your brain about like a zillion things about fad diets. And the first time I met Carrie, the thing that I just adored was her approach to nutrition, which in this day and age, I mean, if you scour Facebook or really Instagram, any social media, anything, there are a zillion ways to lose 25 pounds in 4 weeks. You can HCG, you can keto, you can Atkins, you can all those things. And what I thought was really interesting is that your approach is totally different. She breaks off from the mainstream, which I think we do, you know, as
you're definitely not in the mainstream.
Yeah, I think that my parenting is not always the mainstream, but so I think that's what appeals to me.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that. And like we were talking just before, is that my philosophy is I do believe in bio-individuality. So I'm the last person that's
so explain bio-individuality. You know,
right.
You're getting like a
getting
fancy
scientific.
schmancy.
Okay. So what I mean by that is I'm the last person that's going to sit here and say blanketly, everyone should be doing this because I'm doing it, or you know, everyone should eat this way. I mean, there's a few things maybe that apply to all of us.
What would those few things be?
Well, for one is eat real food. So I have what I call the simple, not simple approach. So the simple part is eat real food. So we can say, oh, okay, I know what that is. You know, real food, right? Is an apple is my prop here. So
Carrie said, I said we should talk about food labels, and she said if it has a food label, it's not real food.
You're already in trouble.
Damn!
Boom.
Damn! What?
Yes.
What about the chips?
Well,
the
there's
Oreos.
ways around it. You know, there are ways around it. There's a way to get your craving on and fulfill that. So I think that that's possible to have chips, but then that does come down to reading food labels. So like I confessed to Elise before we started that because I did bring a food label to look at, that I said, you know, I just ate these cookies yesterday, this whole thing. And
You ate the whole thing. That's
whole
how
thing.
I roll.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I roll.
So this is why I don't buy this stuff, because I can't have it around or I will eat it. But the trick in reading food labels, right? There's a couple of them. Look at the ingredients. I go straight for the ingredients.
So you don't look at the macros,
No.
You know, I was Atkins for so long, and I was so thin and so whatever, and I was so accustomed, you know, you get like, almost like addicted to that type of thing where you're like, okay, I can only have this amount of net carbs and I can only have this amount of protein or whatever. And so,
yeah. So for me, as far as, you know, label reading goes, or from what you should eat, you know, I don't really read food labels because, like we said, I want to eat more real food. I'm a slow food lover. I'm a slow food advocate. What does that mean? Try to cook as much food for myself as possible. And that comes down to the meal prep and planning and, you know, getting some recipes, getting inspired here and there.
But we're mommies. Meal prep, no bueno.
I know. Well, this is where you can get the kids involved. So how do you inspire the kids to eat healthy? You want them to follow your example, so you have to lead by example.
We got to do it.
You got to do it. You got to prioritize.
It's like that with every aspect of parenting.
Anything you want to be successful at, it takes time and energy and effort, right? You can't. There's no easy
shortcuts.
fix. Yeah, no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
So the best way to get the kids inspired is to get them involved, and I think kids love cooking. Wouldn't you say?
Hell, my daughter does.
It's like a science
Peyton
experiment.
Even, yeah. I mean, they come in.
Yeah.
How long do you think that give me an example of like a great, now I know that the bio-individuality, is I say
Yep,
that?
you got that.
Bio-individuality, but like give me an example, like what would I cook that's whole food, and you have a breakdown of the macros, like
yes.
that is a good guide,
a good
obviously not a...
Yeah, so a good general guide of macro nutrients in the diet is, well, first of all, let's talk about micro. So macronutrients, water, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins. So the micronutrients the body really doesn't make. You have to get those with your intake of food and water.
You have to get it through Karen's green juice in the morning.
Yes, right? So you're hopefully eating good things to give you the vitamins and minerals. And then you can go into what's the quality of food level. That's a whole other topic. But back to the macros for a second. The water, you want to stay hydrated. You want to have the general guidelines, and then of course tweaked by the individual, is 40% carbohydrates during, you know, each day, 30% fat and 30% protein.
Yes, she wants it. Amy, you can. We're going to give her information out at the end.
Yeah.
And she actually is doing a workshop and all kinds of great stuff. So you can definitely make an appointment with her. She's here locally.
Awesome.
But even still, anybody that's not here locally can do stuff virtually with Carrie. Okay,
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's great. So yourhealthpath.com is my website if you want to check that out too. Quick little plug. But yeah, so 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat in each meal. So what kind of carbohydrates? That can be a hot button topic.
Yes, I asked, can I have my bread?
Yeah, so carbohydrates, ideally the ones you want to be eating, and I'm trying to make this hashtag come alive. Hashtag carbs are green. So we think of carbohydrates.
That's a vegetable, honey.
Yeah.
I know, it's broken down into...
Yeah, so unrefined, complex carbohydrates are the good ones, and those are the ones you want to fill your diet with, and you can have 40% of those. You can eat as many of those as you want, really.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Amy brings up something a very good point. So, and Amy, I'm right there with you as I'm sitting here with my menopause sweat. She says menopause and weight stinks, and you know I cook healthy every night. Exactly. And so there are certain things that you address, like Hashimoto's, thyroid, menopause, certain foods that work for you.
Yes.
And
so it depends. That goes back to the bio-individuality of each person and what they're going through at this moment, because it's going to change throughout our life and what we're going through and what our body's dealing with. You know, so what you could eat in your 20s, obviously we can't eat in our 40s and our 60s. You know, it changes.
Jujubes, no.
Yeah, right. No jujubes. So there are ways that you can get your fix for those cravings in a healthy way, that you can create your own little treats, and I have some good recipes for you maybe that give you the jujube fix without the bad stuff.
Let's hear let's make a dinner. Let's make a faux dinner right now in our head. So what could we make for our children that they would enjoy, that's not too terribly, you know, crazy and, overdoing like a little Martha Stewart action.
Right.
We want to keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Okay.
What could we do with those 40, 30, 30? What was it? 40, 30?
Okay, so
You have any ideas?
One of the most simple recipes that I love and everyone I've made it for is just bonkers about is a roasted chicken in the oven.
Okay.
And being a busy working professional, I know what it's like, this time crunch that we're all under. We all have a lot of priorities.
Like the Purdue roasted chicken, like the big whole thing?
So, yeah, like taking the big roasted chicken, washing it off, drying it off, patting it dry. And this is something you would want to do on a Sunday. And you can, eat this chicken throughout, depending on how big the bird is, throughout the week a little bit in a few different ways. Mm-hmm. So yeah, go-to meal. So it can be so delicious. You start with good ingredients. That's a big thing. You
organic.
Crap in, crap out. You heard of that? Mm-hmm. Crap in, crap out. Like if you put bad things in, you're gonna get bad things out. So put good things in. So start with organic. Start with grass-fed meats and things like that. If you're a meat eater. So if you want to eat roasted chicken, you do it very simply. You wash the bird off. You dry it off.
Okay.
Pat it dry. You salt and pepper the outside and inside.
Okay.
And I use ghee. I don't know if you're familiar with clarified butter.
Explain what it is.
Yeah.
So people understand.
Ghee is clarified butter. You can get it in a jar.
And explain why people use the ghee.
So if you get the milk solids out. So if you're lactose intolerant or you're trying to avoid dairy for any reason, you can use ghee instead. So you get this flavor from that.
It's basically like what they serve with lobster. Right?
Yeah, well,
close.
What they're serving depends on where you're getting
it's the clarified butter. It's usually it's the very clear.
Butter. It is
the very clear yellow.
Yeah, it's taking the dairy solids out. So you can buy that in a jar, or if you want to use what other oils you probably don't want to cook with olive oil. That's the tricky thing.
Oh, that was something I actually meant to ask you.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to cook with olive oil, right?
Right. So olive oil has a smoke point.
Right.
And you don't want to heat it over a certain amount. So
and then
it
ends up being bad for you, correct?
Yeah, it becomes toxic.
Toxic.
Yes. So I was telling you this just before we started too, is that as a nutritional therapist, we're trained to eat a nutrient-dense, whole food, properly prepared diet. So that's what I advocate for and believe in and try to live that way as best as I can as a human being, if possible. So a lot of us get the whole food thing down. Okay, I eat more whole foods, avoid processed foods. Okay, I can do that. Wrap my mind around that. Then you say nutrient dense. Well, it's nutrient dense because it's whole food. And then the properly prepared parts is this tricky part. That's the part before I got my training that I was doing wrong. That I was like, I didn't know that you're supposed to soak off the phytic acid of raw nuts before you eat them. What? What's that about? Or I didn't know that you're not supposed to cook with olive oil.
If the nuts are roasted, is that bad? They're supposed to be raw and then soaked. So you guys, that's actually like a big tip.
It's a big one.
Because people are probably generally doing that wrong. Yeah. So you want to buy the nuts.
Right.
In their raw form, and then soak them.
Right.
And is that so that gives you the most nutrition? And sometimes people have a big problem with digesting nuts.
Yes.
I would imagine that maybe that helps with the digestion.
Does. It helps with the digestion, and when you eat raw nuts, it unfortunately can demineralize your body. So it's stripping minerals out of your body. So that's why you want to soak the nuts overnight and then dehydrate them if you want them crunchy.
So is there any oil, or is it just ghee that you will?
I love to cook with coconut oil.
Okay.
And now some people who have an adverse taste to coconut, doesn't work for them. You're an adverse taste to coconut.
Coconut oil.
Do you love it or hate it?
Hate it.
Hate it.
Okay. Get it out.
Get it out.
Get it out.
So
I will eat coconut flakes, but
get it out.
I will come for you if you cook with the coconut oil.
So there's also grapeseed oil, which I like to cook
with. And that's pretty mild.
Yes.
What about avocado oil?
I think avocado oil is good. I don't know about cooking with it. I'm not quite sure. I would have to look that one up. I don't use it myself.
Okay, because I had heard avocado oil. That's why I asked. Okay, so grapeseed oil
is really flavorful for homemade salad dressings. I would use that for that.
But we can use olive oil for salad dressings because it's not cooked.
And that's
so olive oil is still good.
Yes.
See, we learn new information. Egg good, egg bad. Olive oil good, olive oil bad. Olive oil good, raw.
Right.
Olive oil bad, cooked.
So this is something I would like to take a minute on since we're here now with this good and bad thing. We talked a little bit about before we began. And I think it's because, with all this stuff, and maybe I said this already, I can't remember if I told you guys or just you, that, I'm being pulled in this direction to talk a lot more about behavior change and the psychology of behavior change. Because all this stuff, when it comes to healthy eating or wanting to exercise more or just get healthy or whatever the goals are around health, it really comes down to whether or not you want to change what you're currently doing, and being able to admit that I, in fact, have more room to grow in this area. I don't know it all yet, you know, and some people are ready for that and some people aren't, and that's okay, you know, but
so you're not going to be able to change someone who's not ready to take this.
Right.
And I thought that you had described it so perfectly when you said you have to be ready to be uncomfortable. And if you think that you're going to go in and give a list of things and say, but I'd like to eat my bread and my sugar and my Oreos, and come out with anything,
any result different than what you currently have,
you're not going to.
Right. So if you have these demands, let's say,
which is what I think a lot of people have problems with Weight Watchers, the fundamental behind it, because it talks strictly about calories and nothing about nutrition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are so many diets out there, right? There's so many ways of eating, and it's the next latest trend, this and that diet, like you were listing earlier.
Paleo, HCG, keto.
Yeah, all these different ways, and they may have their purpose at a certain time, you know, in your life, but really it comes down to that simple, not simple thing I was talking about before, is eating real food, finding out what in fact real food is, you know, because we're bombarded with food all the time. Food is surrounding us, but is it real food? You know, and is it what supports our health, or is it detracting from our health? I like that quote that's out there somewhere that I found about every time you eat is an opportunity to either enhance your health or detract from it.
Right. So and using food as a form of medicine.
Yes, because the father of medicine himself, Hippocrates, you probably know that one too, is let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food, you know.
So I think the takeaway is that we don't do any
I just saw Sherry's comment.
I'll be sure to tell Seth to soak his nuts.
Well put.
You should. Tell Seth that he needs to start soaking those nuts. So we went over labels. We went over the sugar and wheat.
Yeah.
So
tricky.
Because you had cookies.
I did. So
and
okay,
you
so
eat
I was having a cookie craving. Okay, just like everybody, I have cookie cravings.
You're not
too
perfect.
Sometimes. No, absolutely not. So I normally, when I have a craving, I will look for a recipe and make it myself. And I'll say, okay, well, it's homemade. You know, it's real food ingredients. I put it together myself, and I'll have it, and then it'll be gone.
So
okay?
If we make homemade cookies.
I make them. I follow a lot of paleo recipes. I don't eat paleo. I don't advocate for any certain one type of diet, but I get inspired by paleo recipes.
Okay.
So I look for a paleo recipe and I'll find one. And
because they're pretty good in terms of glycemic sugar.
Yes.
And they really do
Yeah, they balance it with real food ingredients,
right.
You know, so that's where I get a lot of my inspiration.
Okay.
And, you know, there's other places too. It's not the only place. But so what I did was I was near Whole Foods and I found Simple Meals, which is a brand that I tend to like for a couple of reasons. And one is that the ingredient list is something that I recognize all those ingredients. So if I go to the ingredients list, I forget about the labels and nutrition facts. I really don't go here really much. And I look straight to the ingredients. I say, okay, this. I can eat that. You know, I can eat that. Just something I want to eat all the time. Do I want to have these every week? No way. Absolutely not. This is once in a blue moon treat for me. I'll buy it if I had a craving. You know, I want a little cookie action. You know, I want to have a cookie.
Do you find that you will eat something sweet every day, or that you just don't even have it and you just listen to your body?
It depends on what I'm going through. So it's, you know, life is cyclical. This is something we all struggle with, I think. It's cyclical. It goes around in circles. You know, women have more of an in tune on this, as you know, as our cycles do monthly.
There's a certain time you really need salt, chocolate, and crunch.
Yes, so there's, you know, it is cyclical. We tend to think of it as linear. It's like that little success model we want, like the stairs. We want to go from here to here, right? We want to make it so simple to go start here and here. But that's not how life works, right? So, you know, I forget where I was going with that, but it works with these cookies.
Look, and we didn't even have the alcohol in the back.
Didn't have any of
We
that.
didn't have the alcohol. We were talking about
we did notice
the sugar. Do you eat sugar?
Yeah, sugar or wheat.
Oh, you know,
right?
Is there like a particular craving, or do you have it every day, or you have it whenever? Or?
So I like to avoid sugar. Do I always do it perfectly? Absolutely not. You know, so there's times when I'll say, you know what, that has sugar in it, and I'm gonna eat it, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and then I'm gonna let it go. But the trick with sugar is that it's
addictive.
So once
you
have
start,
it, you want it again, you want it again,
and then you have to break it again. Then you have to be on that like sort of detox.
That cycle. Then the cycle you go over,
which is not even
start
work
again.
So is there so and Karen knows that I'm like obsessed with this raw oatmeal shit I've been eating lately. I smash a banana, I soak raw oats overnight in coconut milk, and I crumble like a tiny little bit of granola on top. And you said that it was good up until the food prep, that it should actually be cooked. But that was my sugar. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
because there's actually like no sugar.
Yeah.
There's like a tiny crumble of granola on top.
Yeah,
and that's it.
You know, and it depends on what your body's going through. Now, I've never done an assessment with you, so but if you had, let's say you had blood sugar imbalances, or you're having hormonal shifts, or imbalances.
You mean the hot sweats?
Maybe you want to avoid. Even bananas can be too sweet, too much sugar, depending on where you're at. For instance, I'm teaching this restart class that we talked about a little bit in Delray. Part of the 5-week class is a sugar detox, which I plan to do with the class myself. Okay. When I'm on that sugar detox, and when the students are doing it with me, then we will not be eating bananas. We will not be eating bread. We will not be eating a lot of things for a limited amount of time because we just want to
detox. Yeah. And I think that the way you hook people is say it's just for a limited amount of time. Yeah. And then they lose the craving and then it's done.
Right. So
but when you say when you don't have to say for the rest of your life no. and it's just really day by day. See, that's the psychology part behind it. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because sometimes it just feels like too much.
You can do anything for 3 weeks.
You can do anything for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is, tell everybody your website again.
Okay, my website's yourhealthpath.com. Okay. And this class that I'm talking about is called the Restart Program. And I've licensed the program because only nutritional therapy practitioners like myself are able to teach this program. So I'm so excited to teach it because I've heard great reviews from other NTPs like me that we got, I reached out to a few of them that we were certified together, and I said, how's it going for you? What do you think of this program? And one of them, who's my dear friend Marlene from Tampa, she said, it's amazing. And I should say Marlene's also an RN. And so she taught this program at her hospital. Okay, she had some nurses.
Amy, who was talking about you, she's a big time nurse.
Oh, cool.
She's a nurse. She's a PhD. She runs all kinds of shit. Anyway.
Awesome. So she's having great results, and she had some of the nurses take the class, or they signed up to take it. And she told me this awesome story about one of the nurses who said, "Oh my God, I didn't know that stuff, and you can't believe
It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't all taught this way, how to eat. We're living in this fast-paced society that demands a lot of us. We value accomplishment. No one's getting a gold star for self-care. And I think it's really important. And I hope that this is a little bit of a tide-turning time where we can say, yeah, self-care is important, and we need to value it, and we need to shine a light on it. So.
Now, what if someone like myself, who is not eating meat or dairy, will I be forced to, in this restart, am I going to have to
eat meat?
Yeah.
Well, I will say that the Restart Program is sort of an omnivore's program. It doesn't mean that you'll be forced to do anything.
I know, because you're nice and sweet.
Yeah, all this is voluntary. These are good. What it's going to talk about with you is, optimizing digestion and what things are going to help you with your digestion, how to balance your blood sugar, how that's going to work for you, to how to detect food sensitivities. We'll talk a little bit about how to do that yourself. And
can you just quickly touch on how people can detect that aren't going to be able to do that? How they can detect food sensitivities?
It's a little too complicated to go into right now, but if you're interested in figuring that out, definitely reach out to me. Touch base with me, and I'll find some resources for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can say that. But there's a lot of valuable information that no matter how
you
choose
to eat, you don't do the quick answer. Well, you might get bloated. Well, you might, have stomach ache. It's more complex. That's the thing.
It is more complex.
We are in a society where we want, can I have the 5 steps?
Right.
Can you give me the 5 steps to optimizing my health?
Right.
In 5 weeks?
In 5 seconds.
Right. And I think that is the big takeaway. slow it the fuck down.
It's true. We
I
kind
know,
of do.
you're like, sweet. She's from the Midwest. She's like, what? No, I'm not.
It's okay.
So
I love it.
I can say it.
Yeah.
But that is like a huge thing that people need to bring it down a notch.
Yeah.
You know, invest the time in yourself to, you know, not worry about the quick
fix. Yeah.
And let's just spend some time, spend a moment, spend a couple weeks understanding what your food triggers are, what your body is reacting to, what works for you, and with that, other things will come. People have weight loss goals, they have energy goals, they have all types of different reasons.
And I'll say it's amazing what a little time and space created for you can do for your clarity. I mean, people get really clear when they have a good listener.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of what health coaching is. I mean, that's how I approach it anyway. And I had a great opportunity networking with you this week to describe it as strategic planning for your health path. Now, you know, like I think that, you know, we reach out for experts in our businesses to get strategic planning done on a yearly, maybe by, you know, a couple of years, 5 years, whatever it is. You know, we do that for work, and we don't do that for ourselves. So, and we don't have to go into the whole, you know, we have to have graphs and everything.
Right.
and
I say for parents, what is your parenting mission statement? It's a broad, you know, like it's a take care of yourself, take care of this kind of big picture type of thing. It's not the, let me give it to you in 4 steps.
Right. It's creating a plan, having goals that are actionable, and then, you know, working on those things and giving yourself credit, really, for a lot of the stuff that you're doing, because we're not going to be perfect right away, but it's all a process and a practice. So.
Right. What is one of the boxing coaches?
Is this about the fight Saturday?
No, God no. One of the, he said, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice.
I don't know.
Forget it. I lost
it. Does anyone know what we're talking about?
Something I can't remember. It's really good.
It is.
And I can't remember it. Anyway,
it does sound good though. I think
perfect practice makes perfect, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, so you can find Kiri at
yourhealthpath.com.
And she sends newsletters and blogs and all kinds of stuff.
So I'm working on doing more video too. So I'm going to be trying to, my goal that I'm setting for myself is to do a Wellness Wednesday, to try to post a video every Wednesday on Your Health Path Facebook page.
Progress, not perfection. That's not what it was though,
That's
Deanna.
Good, though. I like that.
That wasn't what it was. It's a different play on words.
I do like that.
It was from one of my boxing coaches. I can't remember what
You were in boxing? I did not know.
I still am.
Oh, that's awesome.
I teach it too.
I wonder. Oh, wow.
So, okay, so that is that, and any other?
Yeah, well, I should mention that the Restart program that I'm going to be teaching is at Beyond Fitness in Delray. It's on Atlantic and Military Jog area, so it's, you know.
That'll be on your website too, right?
Yeah,
okay.
There.
So anybody local that's interested in that, it starts when? It starts
on September 18th.
September 18th.
Early bird rates before September 8th to register, so yeah.
So any questions that you have, you can contact her at 561-342. As I put the paper further and further away because I can't see because I'm old. Okay. So it's 561-342-1331. And if you guys have any questions, just call her. She's like sweet, adorable, and charming, and not from South Florida or up north. So, you know, people like me are very scary.
No, you're the best. You're hilarious.
So, all right. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much. I have something so seriously as amazing planned for next week. So again, model this for your children. It's the same thing that I say for all of the parenting things. You know, we can't yell, we can't scream. You know, Joe will make fun of me. I interrupt him all the time while he's on the phone. He's like, hello, are you surprised that your kids do the same thing? You know, we really don't have to look far to answer our questions. I mean, honestly. So, anyway,
true. Look inside.
Yeah, look and see what you're doing yourself. So that's just really the best way. And get your kids involved in the kitchen. They really do like it. They want to, you know, they want to participate and have a say. And that's the other thing. It's really great when you can get them involved and say, you know, do you want this versus that? Or we have, you know, this choice, and, you know, they don't like broccoli, but maybe they're willing to do a string bean. So, instead of a potato. So
green. Get those greens in there somehow.
So, all right, guys. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great week. I hope everybody's back to school is smooth sailing. This was Dade County's and Broward County's first week back to school. And Palm Beach is in the second week. And Lord have mercy, the up north schools haven't even started yet.
September,
What's
right?
up, Elise and Carrie? Michael Nathanson really making a cameo tonight. Okay. All right, guys. So that is about it. I will see you. You guys can find Carrie and
YourHealthPath.com.
I will see you guys next week.
Thanks so much, Elise. Bye.
Peace out. All right. Wait. What? Uh-oh. Where's the button? You guys are still seeing it.
Is this